Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. And I'm looking into this case of Rachel Morin. Rachel Morin was a 37-year-old mother of 5 children, and she disappeared on the 6th of August. And she was on a trail, on a nature trail, the Marampa Nature Trail in Maryland, Baltimore. And she unfortunately was found savagely murdered. The police have still not released exact details of how she died because this is a case in progress. So let's just have a look at some photos of Rachel to remind us of her. Rachel was a very striking, very attractive woman, so you would certainly notice her. Anyone would notice her just because of how strikingly beautiful she is. She looked after her appearance. She put a lot into her appearance. So she went missing, and then she was found the next day on this trail, or in the early hours of the next morning. So she'd gone for a run, apparently around about 6 in the evening, and we still don't. Her killer is still loose. Now, those of you who have stayed with me through this case, you'll know that there were some aspersions cast on her boyfriend at the time. There were a few people that were suspected, but then a bombshell came up a couple of weeks later when the police did a press conference, and they announced that they found DNA on Rachel that was connected to a home invasion and assault right over the other side of the country in Los Angeles. So let's chat. Now, it was a complete shock, I think, because nobody was expecting the answer to Rachel's MURDR to be so far away. But having said that, that was now back at the end of August, and we are now on the 23rd of October in the same year, 2023, depends when you're watching this video. And this person, despite the fact that actual CCTV has been released of this person leaving the property that he supposedly it was a home invasion where he left his DNA and it's been matched to Rachel. No name has been given by anyone for this person, despite the fact his photo, although it's not a full face photo, it's to me, well, you'll see when we look at it in a moment. I'm sure you've already seen it. Anyone who knows this man, there's enough on this door cam that if you knew him, you would know that that was him. There's enough on there, even though it's not a full front, facial. There's enough of his profile, there's enough of his body. I mean, he's got no shirt on. You can see his body as clear as anything. Definitely you would know if you knew this person. If this person was in your family, one of your friends, or in your workspace, you would link these images to that person that you knew. So why has nobody come forward? Because since then the reward has gone from $10,000 to $20,000. It's now on $30,000. That's a lot of money for someone. Why is nobody giving up this man? What hold does he have over everybody? Because it won't be just one person who knows him. Anyway, there is, of course, I'm sure, just as always, a lot going on under the surface. This guy could have left the country. He could be hiding. Someone could be hiding him. We just don't know. And of course, we've got two crimes going on here, two different police forces investigating. You've got the Maryland police And then, of course, you've got the LAPD. I mean, they couldn't be more different, could they, really? You know, probably from the sort of crimes they normally have to deal with and their way of dealing with things. You know, you're looking at a big city like LA that has a lot of crime, and a place like Maryland or Baltimore, which probably doesn't deal with many MURDERs, although there seem to be a few, have been a few there recently. So it's a conundrum, it's a mystery. Why has nobody come forward for this $30,000 reward? What is so special about this guy that nobody is coming forward, even with that big incentive to come forward? So in I think like the police have gone and interviewed people in Washington in various areas, and it's thought that they're checking out DNA genealogy, you know, because of course they can do that now. So, you know, I'm confident this guy is going to be caught. What obviously is worrying is what he did to Rachel. Although that wasn't what he did in LA, but would he have done that if he would have had a chance to do it? Is he going to do it again? Has he done it again? Is he a serial killer? All these are all the questions. The guy's supposedly between 25 and 35, which is probably about a prime age for a serial killer, to be honest. You know, they tend to sort of come into it in their mid-20s, early mid-20s, and then, you know, carry on. Well, they'll carry on until they're caught. If he is a serial killer, he'll carry on till he's caught, because he won't be able to stop himself. You know, or was this just a crime of opportunism? You know, there he was for whatever reason on that trail. He saw Rachel, you know, very attractive woman, and he just took that opportunity. But maybe it's not something he regularly does. But you know, then why was he committing a home invasion in LA? So the reason that I'm doing this video, apart from to sort of give you a bit of an update, but of course it's not an update, we don't know anymore. But one YouTube channel, one of my preferred YouTube channels, they have released footage of the house where the suspect was seen filmed coming out of the house in LA, where he committed the home invasion and assault on a minor, apparently. I mean, we don't know the details of that yet, because these are, again, as I said, these are cases under investigation. Until this guy is actually caught, we won't get any details. The police will just give enough details that they need to, but they'll be very wary of releasing any other details. So this YouTube channel that we're going to look at is The Interview Room, which is with an ex-policeman. You know, it's a very interesting channel. I've been watching it quite a lot to do with the Summer Wells case. I want to, so go over there, give him a subscribe. I want to say thank you to the channel for putting this online, and thank you. I think from what I can gather, The Interview Room lets you use the footage as long as you're clear as to where the footage has come from. You know, don't try and pass it off as your own footage. So this is The Interview Room, and let's have a look. This is an update that they did a couple of days ago, and I thought it was especially interesting because of the footage of the house where the home invasion took place. So let me just share it. I think you can see that now. Let me just check. I just have to check, because otherwise I end up prattling on, and then, yeah, I end up prattling on and come back and see that it never shared. Okay, let's have a look.
The last time, of course, this suspect was on the run. In LAPD had reported he had committed a burglary, which is.
So let me just make it clear that the burglary and assault took place on March the 26th in Los Angeles. So he was on the run from that. Maybe that's how he ended up in Maryland. You know, they are so far away from each other, you couldn't get any further from one side of the country to the other. Now, I know that you could just hop on a plane, and that probably wouldn't take, that's an overnight flight apparently, but would he want to go on a plane? Would he want to, give his ID and things like that? Driving takes quite a lot of hours, but you could do it over a few days. Obviously, he could be a trucker. We just don't know. We don't know if the reason he's proving so elusive is because of his lifestyle, or has he left the country now completely? He's a Hispanic background. They can tell that, I presume, from the DNA, or maybe the person, because the people who were in the house where the home invasion took place, they've probably been able to testify to that. But no e-fit has been released, which is quite strange because they obviously got a good look at him, face, and yet no e-fit has been released. So let's see what this says here. So the LAPD says that PC459 Baltimore banner. What does that mean? Don't know what that means. Anyway, Los Angeles police said that the suspect was involved in a residential burglary and assault that took place on March the 26th in South Los Angeles. A spokeswoman said that the assault was not of an sex nature, but that the investigators did not want to disclose any more details about what occurred in the house at this time. So strange, isn't it? Really, it's so mysterious. It sort of, you think, well, why? What? So there'll be a reason for that. But anyway, Los Angeles Police Department detectives have been in contact with Hartford County, that's up in Maryland, my sheriff, Jeff Gayer, anyway, to provide any and all information needed to bring the person responsible for such a brutal and senseless murder to justice. When that DNA matched, they must have been jubilant at first, thinking, oh my God, we've got a match for DNA, but I bet they weren't expecting it would be so difficult to identify this guy. We will continue to support the Hartford County Sheriff's Department as they move forward with their investigation, as well as to provide any additional information we may uncover as we proceed with our burglary and assault investigation. Let's see what you guys got to say.
The California Penal Code 459, and then of course he commits the homicide in Baltimore. So one of the things.
Oh, thank you. So it's Penal Code 459. Right, here is the, gosh, look at that. You can virtually see this guy's face here in his profile. If you knew him, you would know who that guy is. This is his back view. He's got no tattoos, which I personally think is significant in this day and age. Because most people do have tattoos, don't, especially young men like that, and Hispanic men, so is he, I wondered, is he in the military? But surely he would have been recognized by now. And do you have to give your DNA if you go into the military? That, I don't know if you do or not. It'd be interesting to know if you do, because in a way it'd be good if you did, because if you got into any conflicts, if you were sent off to war zones and you sadly had to be identified. So anyway, so this is the door cam that's been released.
I was very, very interested in, and we all talked about this, was my thought process was this guy was a Hispanic male and or Latino descent, and he had to be from that area, or at least knew somebody in that area, because for a couple of reasons. And I'm actually
yeah, now the thing is, the area where he committed the home invasion, there's a much bigger Hispanic community, that they think that he probably lives in that area and traveled to Maryland. Now, he may have relatives in Baltimore or whatever, but rather than the other way around, that's what they think. Now, this haircut, this is another thing. He had that very distinctive haircut. It's very, very popular. It's a cross between a fade and a bowl cut. And, it'd be good, wouldn't it? Be a good idea to go around all the hairdressers with that photo and ask if, they probably do loads of these haircuts, but they might actually recognize the person. I think his body is quite distinctive, and he's very stocky, very broad, but no tattoos. So it's saying here the Edgar haircut is a cross between a fade and a bowl cut. It's also known as the Mexican Caesar and is a variation of the classic Caesar and bowl cuts. It's characterized by long hair on top and tapered sides. My son has had this haircut before. So it originated with Mexican teens and Latino men, and it became popular worldwide after a baseball player named Edgar Martinez cut his hair in the style. The Edgar haircut became a viral meme on social media during the pandemic, and it's often associated with the modern ranchera or ranchero aesthetic known as tacuache. A popular version of the Edgar haircut is the fluffy Edgar, and this features a high fade or undercut on the sides and back with longer hair on top, styled into loose textured curls. Well, that's definitely the haircut he's got.
Going to narrow that down today for us. This was the type of haircut that he was wearing. It's very popular in the Latino community. And I had a lot of people talking about whether or not he was from the Middle East or.
Well, do you know, it's funny I'm saying that, because when I first saw the video, I've said on another video, I thought he looked like he might be Arabic, but I thought they said he was Hispanic. So, but he has an Arabic look about him as well. So I don't know. But anyway, let me just read you what it says here. It's unknown for sure where the Edgar haircut or takuachi haircut actually comes from. But Edgar Martinez, a baseball player, is sometimes blamed for its popularity. His face was shaved in a fan's head, which made this hairstyle notorious. So you can see, yeah, they have it's like a fade effect. There's another theory that claims that Mexico is where the Edgar haircut originates, which is why it's also referred to as a tacuache haircut, which means possum in Spanish, as well as a young man from Mexico keen on pickups. It can also be shortened to a cut. You didn't know there was so much information about hair, did you? It's like, it's incredible, really, the amount of different hairstyles there are. And the other reason I was thinking it, because when my son had his hair like this, he was going to a barber's in our village who was actually Moroccan, so more of an Arabic style. So that's why I thought possibly the guy was Arabic, but I presume from the DNA they can tell what his ancestry is. But I'm not sure about that. But if he actually spoke to these people at the place of the home invasion, so they've perhaps gathered what he is, what language he spoke. I don't know what nationality they are. There's a lot of Spanish spoken in Los Angeles because there are a lot of Latinos and Hispanic people there. And the thing is, that's why the Rachel's family now have released sort of all the leaflets in Spanish as well, because they found when they were going around knocking on doors, a lot of the Hispanic community did not even know about this case, even though it's so high profile, in the English speaking, even over in the UK, anywhere that's English speaking, people have heard of this case. But and it just reminded me of living here in Spain, where I live in the British expat community. They don't take any notice of the Spanish news thing. A nuclear bomb could go off. They wouldn't know what was going on unless it was on the British news. Immigrants, which of course British people are immigrants, even though they call themselves expats rather than immigrants, but they don't really integrate all the things that they moan about immigrants don't do in Britain, they don't do in Spain. They don't learn the language, they don't integrate, they stick in their little enclaves. But it's human nature to stick around, be around people that if you like, or feel comfortable with. You speak the same language, you have the same culture. It's not even a language thing, a lot of it is a culture thing. So the Hispanic people in LA or in Baltimore, they will probably, stick in their own communities a lot and not be so aware of other things that are going on. That is just the way it is. And I expect that's the same in any expat immigrant enclaves all over the world. People seek out what they know.
whatever they were saying. And I respectfully disagreed with them, and there were a couple of reasons why. Because I have spent time in that area. I knew the area very, very well, and I also understood.
I'm not sure what that other picture was, but anyway, so these are the considerations that he thinks that if he is a Mexican national, then Ellie needs to be prepared for an Article 4 warrant in case he crosses the border. Yeah, because it's that border, isn't it? So everything must be translated as a 24-hour clock starts upon custody if he's captured in Mexico. And it can be a long process, sometimes years. So that's interesting, isn't it? So the Mexican Federal Penal Code under Article 4 allows for the domestic prosecution of Mexican nationals who commit crimes in a foreign country, in this case the United States, and flee to Mexico in search of a safe haven from prosecution. So he's, of course, we don't know if he's a Mexican national or not. We don't know that yet, but he's just saying that the authorities should be prepared for that, just in case, because they need. They'll be, if that does happen, they'll be under a 24-hour clock for the custody if he's captured in Mexico. So that's an interesting consideration, because he does seem to have vanished into thin air, so he could be in Mexico. So what they've got to really concentrate on is identifying him, and then wherever he's gone, hopefully they'll be able to, because surely, where is he sleeping at night? Where is he? Has he not been seen on CCTV, like buying petrol or going into a supermarket, or nobody's willing to try and claim this $30,000? I mean, he may have deleted himself. Do you know, the police are up against you. We were sort of encouraged when they got this DNA thing, that it wouldn't be long before he would be caught. But when you think of all the various possibilities.
Understood, some of the cultural considerations that we needed to take into effect. So what I have done is I've actually identified where the house is. Now, because there was a small individual involved in this, a child potentially, I'm not going to give you the address. I know LAPD's been holding that back. So
yeah, so obviously he's got contacts. He's found out where this house was, but it's no good. I'm glad he's not given the address. Could you imagine? There'd be loads of people there. But I'm glad that he did, or sent someone to give. We don't have to be there. You don't have to be there if you've got investigative. Well, I don't know what they call. He is a journalist. I think they call him Gonzo journalist, don't they? He's still press. He's still a journalist. He's reporting back responsibly to the public. He doesn't have the same rules as he's not a mainstream media journalist. But it's good that it's better that he goes or sends someone to take this footage so that we can see, rather than 100 people all going to take their own footage, isn't it?
well, I'm not going to give you the address, but what I'm going to do is give us and put it into the public arena a sense of the neighborhood and why I think it's very, very important for us to understand this from a geographical uh, uh, point of view, i.e., and also from a suspect point of view, why the suspect feels comfortable in this arena. I said it before, I'm going to say it again, that this guy was very comfortable going into this particular house that night.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, all criminals, they like to be where they feel comfortable. They do. It's amazing how many people return to the where maybe they've, when they think the heat's died down, they return to the place that they feel comfortable and familiar with. Or if they come out of prison, they want to go back to where, they don't want to go to a new place. It's funny, really. You know, people like to feel comfortable. And this guy obviously feels comfortable in this area, especially if you're committing crimes. If you're going to commit a burglary or a robbery, you need to know the area, because if you have to run off, if you have to escape quickly, or you're not going to go really to a place probably that you don't know at all, or if you do, you'd have to stake it out for a while first. You'd be a bit of a fool really if you just went and did something, and you could just run into a side street, couldn't you, and not be able to get away and get caught. They always, all criminals, they always end up coming back to where they feel comfortable. So I do agree with him with this.
And it doesn't mean he broke in. He could have entered because he could have known some folks in there. I'm actually getting information potentially that he did, and that he was actually let out of the house. And by the way, I'm not going to, it was not the victim that let him out. So that said, here is the neighborhood. It gives you a sense of when he came out, he turned right. This is what he would have seen. There's a park down at the end of the street. This is the house right there to the right. You can clearly see it. So when he comes out, he goes out that gate, turns to the right, and he heads down towards that park. Now, this is important because this is a very, very well populated neighborhood in the Hispanic community. And so,
Well, you can see there's a lot of cars. So, it's not desolate, like deserted, where you just got the odd car. It reminds me a little bit of my street, if you like. There's that, you'd be really struggling to do anything along my street without somebody seeing you, because all the neighbours are in and out all the time. They're in and out of their houses. It's lit, because look at the street lights here. Same here on my street. It's not dark. It's very well lit. So yeah, he'd be struggling not to be seen. So it does seem that maybe he was invited to that house. I heard that it possibly was some sort of party going on there, or something going on there. Maybe he was like a friend of a friend. The person that let him out, he was just saying was not the victim. So perhaps it was the parent of the victim. We don't know, but it's interesting, isn't it? So he walked out of that house. He didn't, when you see the video, he didn't walk out of that house like he was fleeing from anywhere. He literally walked out of that house with his shirt off, his phone in his pocket, casually walked down the steps. He looked like he belonged there. He didn't look like he was on the run.
there is information that this individual may be known to somebody in that area. And also, now that takes us over back to Baltimore, where we have to think that somebody knew this guy in the Baltimore area as well. So after he commits this particular crime, he heads to the East Coast. And my bet is going to be, when this all flushes out, there's going to be somebody in that area near where Rachel, her sweet life was taken.
Yeah, this guy, he didn't just go all the way up to Baltimore just for the hell of it. He could have gone anywhere in America, couldn't he? He would have gone to where, again, either he knows or he knows someone.
and this savage is still out there. We've heard from the sheriff most recently that he's saying that the individual's out there. We've heard from Rachel's sister, but you know, they're worried about this guy, and rightfully so. We should all be worried about him. My concern, though, is that he has potentially fled to south across the border.
Yeah, so there's the house. So it's interesting, isn't it, to see the house. So I presume because he came out of this door, didn't he? There must be, the door cam must be here somewhere. Or is that the door itself? Yeah, it's interesting to see the house from this point of view, isn't it? And he came down here out the gate and just he turned right, I think. It is interesting to see the house from that aspect. You get more of an idea, don't you, of the situation.
And that goes back to that conversation we had about the authorities being prepared with an Article 4 warrant. Because he has crossed lines, state lines, there's a high probability the FBI is chasing him, and there's a high probability.
Now, that's interesting as well, isn't it? Because when crimes cross state lines, the FBI always gets involved. And that'll be another reason why Jeff, the sheriff, and probably the LAPD as well can't say much, because the FBI will have not taken over completely the case, but they'll be doing a lot, and they're much more secretive. They deal with bigger crimes, they deal with crimes that cross state lines or go out of the country. So gosh, it'll be all buzzing under the surface, and one day it will just come out.
They may be getting closer and closer to him. So that said, I just want to give you a quick 15-minute update on the Rachel Morin case. I have all the confidence in the world that this gentleman will be identified and he will be arrested. Thank you always for sticking with the interview room, and thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Chris, for that footage. Thank you for making that available for people to look at. And, I think, you'll know more than that. Chris will know more than anyone, and I agree with him as well. It's just a matter of time, but it's very frustrating. I don't know, it must be so frustrating for Rachel's family. But it reminds me a little bit of Madeline, the girl, the mother, a very young mother of two children. I think it was two, went missing, didn't she? And they all thought her partner, Adam, had probably done something to her, and it took quite a while to find her body because it was such a rough terrain and that, and it could be anyway. To cut a long story short, they did finally found Maddie, and they arrested her partner. He's in prison. He's fighting for rights to see his children. I mean, God, this makes me so angry. Can you imagine? So he's like, oh, and his parents are fighting for the custody of the children. I know it's not their fault, but at the end of the day, they should be perhaps a little bit more feeling for for Maddie's family, because that's going to be, anyway, that's another case. But the good news is that Maddie's partner was arrested and he is awaiting trial. So, and they did, it was good news that they did find Maddie, because at least they could bring her home and give her a respectful burial. They just left her at the side of a road somewhere. So I just wanted to let you know about that. I know there's a lot of you out there like me. You've been following me. We've been up in the middle of the night for the press conference when they released that information about the DNA. I can't wait for the day that I'm up in the middle of the night, because of course it's in America, so everything that happens in the middle of the night as far as press conferences, etc. concerned. I cannot wait for the day I've got to get up in the middle of the night and watch the press conference with you all that says that this monster has finally been caught one way or another. So, and I just hope to God he's not out there doing anything to anybody else. Because, you know, he's not safe around women. You know, and if anyone out there who is like hiding him or not telling the truth about where he is or his name or whatever, if you really think this man is safe around women, you know, if you're thinking, oh, well, you know, it was just a one-off or whatever, you know, what he did to Rachel, which apparently was horrific. And Rachel was just literally, you know, gone for a jog around a nature trail. What? How dare he? How dare he take that, take her life, and not only that, make other women worry about doing that simple thing that anybody should be allowed to do if they want to do. How dare he? How dare he? But anyway. So I just thought I'd give you that little update. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my old subscribers. Thank you to any of you that, if you're not subscribed yet, please consider it. But I understand not everybody wants to subscribe. They don't want the alerts or whatever. That's fine. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because that really helps me out. Also, I want to say thank you to all of you who've gone a little bit of an extra mile by helping out my channel by becoming a member. We have a members live every Thursday. Every Thursday evening we have a members live, and that unedited video live stream stays on the members section. So if you can't make the live, you can always watch it afterwards. Also, I am serializing my new crime novel on there, so that's exclusively for members. Now, also, a lot of you have sent me Ko-fis, bought me a Ko-fi, or you've sent me a super chat or a super thanks, or you've PayPal'd me. Thank you so much for that as well. And thank you to all the messages, emails that you're always sending me about cases, etc. I appreciate everything, every little bit of support you give to my channel. It's such a nice feeling to know that people are enjoying the channel. And, you know, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting any creator because, you know, that's what keeps us creating the content that hopefully you're enjoying. So remember to live and love carefully. I hope you found that interesting. I'll see you very soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you. Thank you.